Wait.
Welcome to the Nonviolent Global Liberation, December 8th, 2024. We are here to explore the question of moving from idealism to relevance, integrated radical vision and practical applications. Welcome, December. Thank you very much.
Thank you, McGregor. Before you respond, I want to say again some version of what I said before, because I have a sense it's really important stuff that is, even though it's not technically part of the topic for today, there's a joke, which is, how do you make the goddess laugh? You tell her about your plans. Or John Lennon is reputed to have said, life is what happens when you're making other plans, including being killed can be what happens when you're making other plans. So a thing happened in real life, a thing, which is, McGregor, I'm just going to say it for those who are, what I'm saying now is specifically for those who are watching the recording, just to have coherence in what happened. That McGregor stepped in last minute to do the tech support. And my sense is there was an overestimation of your capacity to do so. That happens. And when it happens, the most important thing that I can think of is I'm just looking for open lines to mute them. Please, everyone, mute yourself. The most important thing that happens when we overestimate capacity is to take a moment to recognize we have overestimated capacity. We need a new solution. And in that moment, the embarrassment of the person whose capacity was overestimated can actually be more impact than the low capacity itself. I think we saw it. I think everybody was wishing that McGregor would just stop talking and pass it on to someone else. Let's fess up. We all were wishing for that. And the reason why she couldn't access that is because our cultural training does not prepare us for easy self-acceptance. It would have been completely easy if McGregor said, I see that I lost my mooring. I don't know where the buttons are. I'm wondering if there's someone else who could replace me. That would have taken a few seconds and would have left a micro blip that no one would have minded. Right? Can you just nod your head if that is true for you? It's the difficulty in self-acceptance is one of the things that is limiting our collective functioning. I just want us to see that. Apologizing for it, blaming someone else for it, which you weren't doing. I'm not saying, I'm just listing the kinds of things that we do when our capacity is low. We apologize, we pretend that we have the capacity and create actual harm, which wasn't possible here. We blame someone else. We take endless time apologizing and trying to whatever. All of these things don't help. The only thing that helps is taking a breath and saying, we overestimated my capacity. I need to be replaced. There's no loss of dignity in that if we do it from within self-acceptance. And I was also telling McGregor that if there's any place to make mistakes and learn from it in a gentle way, it's here. Because it is true that there are places where making mistakes can get you in severe trouble, including being killed. I do not want to underestimate where the fear is connected to historically. And not just historically, there are places in the world now where making a mistake can cost you your life. So the fear is understandable, and the path of liberation includes accepting our limitations and being at peace with ourselves so that we can be present for what needs to be done instead. So I want to take a moment for everyone to just integrate that imagined possibility before seeing how we tie this to the topic of the day. And I'm tracking that there was something you wanted to say earlier, McGregor.
I just want to say I appreciate the openness here so deeply. And I've heard you say that when people do something out of guilt and not willingness, it doesn't work. I offered to do tech because I've been in deaccumulation, and I heard your impassioned plea that more money was needed and I don't have money. So I wanted to make a contribution in another way, but I was doing it out of guilt. So I think it's really poignant for me to see that if you don't make an
Fabulous.
offer out of pure willingness, it goes toxic. And I hope that is a contribution to this discussion.
It's beautiful, especially since the feedback loop was so short. Sometimes the feedback loop from guilt to what happens later takes years and is really intensive and awful when it breaks loose. So I just thought there was an open line, so I'm gonna ask again everyone to please. That's you, Sadie. You just joined us, and I muted you. And I am wondering, Folkmar, since you are host, I am wondering if you can take this function away from me because it's very hard for me to multitask. Whenever you hear any noise on the line, if you can find where the open line is and mute it. Thank you. Right. Now let's breathe and land. This was not the opening that we started, that we anticipated, and this is what happened. And there are lots of people here, not lots, but there are a few people that I saw. There are definitely people who have not been here before, and it's like, what are they thinking? So I would love to hear from any of the people. Oh, before this, I want to ask people, if at all possible, please open your camera, because this is a space of co-creation, not of passive. And I would love to see your faces and engage with you, and every human face that is on the screen, especially Alex, whom I haven't seen in, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. Yeah, it's such a delight to see you again. Every face that is open participates in creating a field, and the larger the field, the more we can move forward together. Otherwise, we remain individuals. The person behind the closed camera is an individual who is not part of creating something. That's why I invite people to open the camera if at all possible. Thank you for accepting my invitation. And now that I have put you on the spot, are you up for saying what led you to decide to join us today? Alex.
Hello, Mickey.
Hello.
Um, I I've recently moved back home to Barbados after 16 years or so, more than 16 years. And I'm kind of locating myself here again. And part of that is thinking about not only what I want to do or what I want to contribute to, but how to make that real. And when I saw this call, it felt like it just landed in a very alive space for me at this point in my life. And I've been missing NGL and connecting actually in general. And so yeah, it all kind of came together.
Thank you. Welcome. It really is a delight to see you. It's like there's some small part of me that wants to say, wait, let's do the intro another day and let me catch up with Alex, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Is there anyone who's here for the first time who's not been here before? I think Liz, if I caught you right, and Arlene. Let's hear from you. What connected you with the topic of today to want to be here? Only if you're willing. If this is a stretch and not comfortable, there's no have to. It's one of the deep pieces. Arlene.
Yeah, I was going to start by answering the question that you raised about what it felt like to be new and witness all of that happened.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought it was incredible that there was a huge teaching in it. And for me, and probably for everyone, but I can't speak for everyone, because I think I do what McGregor did when something like this happens. In fact, I know, not forget I think, I know that I do. So it's a lesson, because the energy from that went to everybody, I'm sure, in the group, not just, a couple of us. And yeah. And I appreciated the honesty, McGregor's honesty. I don't know her name, but anyway, saying why, looking inside about why she did it, why she do it. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, that's the short version.
And welcome.
Thank you.
So there is no slides or anything. This is entirely all interactive. So I'm really wanting to hear from people how you are connecting with the topic, and through that we weave something. It's been going very well so far with these interactive intros, and that's what I'm wishing to do. And again, Liz, if you are up for saying what is your connection to the topic, if there is one. If there isn't a topic, if you just came here because it's your opportunity to do an NGL intro because all these very strange people are doing this NGL and you want to know, like, what on earth are they doing, then it's fine. But if there is something about the topic, then I would like to hear it.
Hello, we're unmuting on our end. I'm here a bit more because it's an NGL intro and not so much about the topic, but I'm also still exploring these concepts of willingness and capacity and not doing things out of guilt or allowing others to step in to help, which we just had an example of that all together at the beginning of this call. And also the opportunity, since I'm here with, of course, Ian and Zuko and Eric.
So I want to talk about this because, unbeknownst to you, you lifted the cover from one of the very most significant places where radical vision and practical applicability intersect in a very, very, very clear way. And I want to tell you what I'm seeing and see if it makes those concepts clearer. So if you're willing to stay engaged with me, that would be great, because you are in a fabulous position because you are engaging closely with people from NGL, but you aren't. So do you know the concept of beginner's mind?
I'm trying to, what comes up for me is some quote about how the beginner's mind has many possibilities, but the expert's mind's few. I don't know, I'm paraphrasing some.
Okay, so let me tell you what I understand to be a beginner's mind. when we are living within the life that we live, things feel normal. We recognize what is happening. It's not about whether we like it or not. It's familiar and nothing stands out. It's like, this is just how it is. You recognize that state that I'm talking about?
I do, yes.
When we come into a new context, that context is familiar and normal to the people who are in it, but not to us. So in that phase, we see things and ask questions that those who are in the context no longer see because it's obvious to them. That's the fertility of a beginner's mind. It's an opportunity to notice, to take stock, to question, to rethink. Does that make sense?
That's good. It's also helpful too, to know that even beginners have things to offer.
Not even. Specifically, beginners have specific things to offer. It's not more or less. It's just different. So
I think Tom was also raising his hand when you asked who it was the first time here.
thank you. I'm so not done with Liz that I'm very happy to get to Thomas, but not yet, because there's a lot to mine here. So, do you recognize the cost on you when you do things because you have to?
I a little bit, because more and more so. In the past, no.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm encouraged. When I say that building a system collectively on people doing what they have to do, thank you, Eddie, drains energy, do you sense that?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. When everyone does things because they have to, and not because it makes sense to them, or because they have a clear orientation to what needs it would meet, or because their heart opened to whatever is happening. If they do it because they have to, and that's massively all over the place, life energy is turned off. In order to do something that we have to, we need to turn off our flow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think though a lot of people unfortunately can't do that, or it seems like, yeah.
We'll get to what a lot of people can do. When that happens on a huge scale, we operate overall. Oh, there's one more piece. Do you recognize that when you do something because you have to, there's less of you that you give to it?
Yes.
Now add that up to, let's say, 7 billion people. If we're generous, we'll say maybe there's 1 billion people that don't have to at any given moment. I would doubt that, but let's say that there's 7 billion people giving less of their energy than they would if they were doing things because it makes sense to them, because there's willingness, because their life energy goes there. Can you see how we are losing tons of human energy in the process?
Yes.
This is why I'm saying that radical vision and practical applicability intersect here. Because if we can create systems that function on the basis of rigorous assessment of, does this person have the capacity to do this? And do they have the willingness to do this? Or are they overstretching, understretching, doing it from have to, etc.? If we can build systems like that, and the question of can we or not, I'm parking it for a second. If we can build systems like that, do you see that they would be better, both practically and in terms of the vision of creating something that works for everyone? That it would actually function more efficiently than forcing. That's why I'm seeing them intersecting. Is that making sense, Liz?
Yes, then seeing how it would be better than what we currently have.
Exactly. Phew. Do you see how much of a gift you were by asking those questions about willingness and capacity? Do you see it?
I have to try to view it as a gift. I'm not totally, but I'll try to
Okay,
appreciate.
let's do a reality check. And
Okay.
please be honest. Please be honest. Don't raise your hand if it wasn't a gift to you. If it was, please raise your physical hand so we can see it visually. If it was a gift to you that Liz asked this question and all this stuff came in response. Do you see?
Ah, see, wow.
Wait, keep the hands up so that Liz can actually have the experience of taking it in. Just for a moment, just take it in that you were a gift in the process of not knowing and sharing what you don't know. Just see that. See that for all of us. See how much of a gift it is, how rarely we do that, how much we deprive each other of wisdom, connection, forward movement by hiding and doubting ourselves. Thank you. I need a moment to integrate because
A bit emotional for me too.
for me, it touches on a sore spot personally because of the degree of disempowerment that exists and how much disempowerment gets directed at me and results in separation. And how much I want everyone around me to be empowered fully. And how far we are from there. So there's mourning in me about this. And also a celebration that we got to have this moment together, all of us. Yeah, it's amazing to me that those moments can happen in a group where most people don't know each other at all within minutes. If we actually pull in the direction of connection, we can have it. It's the risk of asking, please raise your hand if this is true for you, when I don't know if it will be. And maybe it was going to be only one person that would raise their hand, and it would be painful for you. And I'm willing to take that risk because I have trust that there's something of meaning and value that comes there. And I also want to know what was emotional for you.
I felt that I guess that other people also were open to the learning, or that to hearing the questions and just feeling surrounded by like a resonance.
Yeah.
It just a warm hug or something virtually.
Yes. Yes.
A bit of connection.
Yeah. I think I speak for many when I say that those who participate regularly in NGO but are not fully within it are hungry to understand what it would take to move us forward together and get a lot of juice from seeing moments like this. Because there is a question. Those of us who are fully in, we don't always understand why the majority of people maintain their individual existence. And even when they are fully aligned with what we're doing. They maintain their individual existence, and we want to understand more where the gaps are. So it's cool. Thank you. Are you complete, Liz?
Yes, I'm ready to hear from someone else in the call or two.
Great. I would like to know if there's anything more within this thread before. I'm still tracking Tom. Thank you, Folkmar. I want to know if there is anything within this thread that anybody wants to name. I think, Christine, you had your hand up. Was that within the thread?
No, it was the thing reading my hand going up. It was an accident.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Zoom really tries. So it looks like the topic feels fully landed. And so it's time to ask Tom. And which Tom was it? There are two of you. Is it
I
Tom?
think Tom Quinn raised you raised your hand.
Excuse me. So this is my first time in this group. I wish it weren't. I've actually essentially followed you for a couple of decades, Mickey.
No kidding.
Back
I
in the
didn't
day.
know.
Exactly. Long before there was a Zoom. Back in the days when you spent a huge amount of your time teaching nonviolent communication.
I'm still thinking of myself as teaching nonviolent communication.
I can see that. That's all you've done for the past half hour.
Okay, I'm glad you can see that. Thank you. Go ahead.
But I am in the past few years become much more devoted to personal and global transformation, liberation, to use your term. And I only found NGL probably 2 months ago, and so this is my first opportunity to jump in and see what you guys do on a regular basis. And so far, I'm convinced it was a good thing for me to do.
Is there anything related to the topic of today's call that is on your mind that you would like us to engage with a bit?
Maybe. I had one of those in the shower thoughts this morning about impossibility as practice.
Say more.
Or the practice of the impossible. And what I'm thinking about is the overwhelming obstacles, and what people tend to the terms people tend to use are hopelessness or despair or that sort of thing. But I'm thinking more that there's always been a limited amount that any one person could do within their own life, much less changing the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that, as you described earlier, living one's life within the context of that life is really what we have. It's in some ways it's a burden, in other ways it's a gift. Looking more on the gift side means that I have some energy to
Great.
to work on the things that I think may move me / us toward liberation.
I like how you're thinking. And I want to say a couple of things. One is liberation and transformation are not exactly the same. And to be just absurdly provocative, when Hitler rose to power, that was a transformation that was very clearly not liberation. So transformation doesn't have a directionality to it. It is just there's a before and after, and the thing that is being transformed is different. Liberation points in a particular direction. It points for me in the direction of realigning with life. First of all, I'm wondering if that distinction is resonant for you.
Very much. When I use transformation, I'm doing it from a context in which I hang out with other people who use the term transformation.
Yep. Yeah.
And sometimes what we mean is liberation.
Yeah.
But I clearly see the distinction, and I appreciate that. And I wrote it down as you were talking, so that I
Thank
can
you. And then
continue working on that.
And then there's something else, which is the original thing that you brought up, the question of overwhelming obstacles. And what do we do when we have a radiant vision, which I personally was blessed and cursed with the gift of vision? And it's where I can actually see in minute detail how something could be. Not just it could be better, it could be different, but I can actually see how it could be. And why I'm saying that it's clear why it would be a blessing. The reason it's a curse is because it accentuates the gap between that vision and what we are currently facing. And so the question of, and I'm going to tie it back to the topic of today, what it means to maintain practical applicability as we are holding a radical vision. Part of it is quite rigorously figuring out what exactly is the capacity of the entity that is in some consciousness trying to move somewhere. That entity can be an individual, that entity could be an organization, a family, a community, a movement, whatever the entity is, doing a thorough capacity assessment makes sense. And essentially, it means, this is one of my core operating principles, where is the opening? Not where is the obstacle. Where is the opening? And move in the direction of the opening. And it also includes becoming really clear what our sphere of influence actually is. You know, there, I think, is a good third of the people in the world who care about what is happening in Gaza and want a ceasefire many months ago. I mean, there are others who don't care at all, and they're not don't care at all. I don't mean it doesn't matter to them. It's like they don't have available energy to think about it. That's what I meant by don't care, not in the negative sense. And there is a group of people who are very happy with what is happening. So I don't know what the numerical distribution, but let's say a good third of the people in the world want there to be a ceasefire. Many of them say things like, there must be a ceasefire. We have to get to a ceasefire right away. And that is speaking to where there is no opening, where it's not within our capacity. It's like the first step of practical action is recognizing where we don't have capacity. This one is a different capacity than the one that I spoke with McGregor about. That one is a personal limitation, temporary or general. I'm talking about capacity as in the totality of our power to come together and move something in a particular direction. We don't have that right now. No one has figured out how to coalesce the 1/3 or even 1/4 or however big is that group of people who really want the ceasefire to happen, how to coalesce it into a concerted, coordinated effort that moves in a particular direction. We don't know how to do that. So it's not actually within our capacity to do that. And therefore, if we have a vision of a post-war world, shouting about what is happening in Gaza is not going to help. It's very hard to say, especially for me, because it's my people who are doing it. Because I am originally from Israel. It's shit to say there's nothing we can do right now with that. So then I release the immediate because it's not an opening. And in the direction of a vision of a complete nonviolent response to war, what is mine to do or what is ours to do? And out of that way of thinking came 2 projects that are real and practical. So part of the practical applicability is to function within capacity, see what the openings are, and take the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step, the next step. And part of what happens is if you keep taking the next steps accurately, they become easier and easier. That's been my experience. Wondering, Tom, if this is helpful.
Very much, very much. I almost everything you just said resonates, and this is for me coming to this program today is simply part of a path that I've been following for a few years now. I'm I'm also enrolled in some other kinds of programs. I'm taking the facilitator training for the work that reconnects, and
Yeah.
today I'm starting something called eco-sattva training. So it's all moving in a direction for me, and so.
So
I'm
may I step in and just say what I'm seeing you doing based on what you're saying is working diligently, and I am sensing from what you're saying with great discernment where to increase your capacity.
exactly.
And I just want, because I don't know you, so this may or may not apply to you. For many people, there is a process of staying on the training wheel. There's one more training I can take, one more training, one more workshop, one more coach that I can work with before I'm ready. And I just wanted to put in a little thing about what is the doing? Is there a doing also? I'm not asking to hear what it is, but there is like integrating doing and learning, not just learning and not just doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a little something on my shoulder that keeps whispering to me, don't just do the training.
Mm-hmm. Great.
But I'm coming from a very long background as a nurse.
Uh-huh.
I'm not an activist. I haven't been involved in any social justice kinds of things. I need to build the capacity so I can get into those things.
Got it. And don't forget that having been a nurse, and even more so, having been a male nurse, is not something that you will find many of in activist circles. And that means you have a specific gift to offer at the level of the culture of a movement.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. All right. Any follow-up to what Tom and I have been talking about? Hello. Yes.
Yes, okay. Hi, I'm Christina Conklin. This is my first time also, and I'm a student of Aaron Seelivers, and that's how I learned about your work. I guess following on from what Tom said, I'm in the position of I'm hosting a community meeting this week as a local community response to the whatever may be coming from the Trump administration in my highly immigrant farm town. So anyway, and wanting to do this in a very different way than my past activism, which was more the going in with the vision. But this way of the capacity assessment and the really identifying the opening, I'm wondering if you can offer some,
Absolutely.
practical tips.
Absolutely. And I still want to take a step back and say, what is the vision? Because when you say coming with vision, that's not the common thing in activism. The common thing in activism is opposition.
Yeah. So I'm an artist, and so I'm good on vision. And the vision I have is a group called Unidos, Half Moon Bay, where I live. And the slogan is "We all belong here."
Mm-hmm.
And just literally that because we are here, we belong here. End of sentence. And so whatever might be coming in terms of trouble for immigrants or LGBT or whatever, like we don't want that here. And we're going to create an identity and a safe space and a group that can respond if needed to anything that would interrupt that vision.
Here is one place where I diverge with you, where it's still opposition, which is where you say, whatever is coming, blah, blah, blah. We don't want that here. That's still opposition. Do you see that?
I do, yeah.
I'll ask you a pointed, provocative question. And I mean it. It's not rhetorical.
No.
In your heart, the person who says immigrants don't belong here, does that person belong here?
Yes. It would be a very challenging, I don't know how to do that work personally, but I'm calling together some people who do. And that's part of why I want to create the space. Yeah.
I am so delighted. I'm just like singing inside, really. It's like, I don't know you and you're coming in so clear. It's so fabulous to encounter someone who, and the same with Tom, where you've done the thinking already. And here is the bit. It's lovely. So the question, the vision is huge. It actually is a vision for all of life. We all belong here. It's not just for some small segment of land in some random town in California. Forgive my, because I have a global perspective, it's a random town in California. And I want us to hold that everywhere that we are right now, given that there are 8 billion of us, it's a random place. And still, that is the place where we are, and that is where we do what we do. But the vision, I love it. We all belong here. It's so potent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sweetie.
And so the question then is, you have already identified in the capacity assessment a limitation of yours. Not just you, probably many others within the group, which is having no idea how to bridge with people who think otherwise. So that's a limitation that you will need to work with. Going back to the question of training, that's a place that makes sense for me, for you as a group to receive training, not you personally. Because if you personally receive the training and others don't, you're building dependence on you and you make yourself non-redundant. Trust me from personal experience, it's not a nice place to be.
I know.
So this is an area where you can build capacity, by doing training. And the training would be specific, which is how to engage in the human way across fundamental differences in worldview. I think Erin could do that training. I would be happy to coach her if she doesn't think she can do it, but I think she's absorbed enough within NGL to be able to do it. And if she can't, there can be other people that I can imagine that could help you in where you are in Half Moon Bay, you said, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the simplest way to do capacity assessment is to think what are the steps that we want to take in that direction. Where, obviously you cannot take the step of taking Trump out of power. That is not within your capacity. Wish as you might, that's not on the menu. So what is on the menu? What are the things that you imagine yourself wanting to do? And then what does it take to do those things? Do you have that capacity? And capacity is always both inner and outer. The inner capacity is made up of strengths and limitations. So you personally, I don't know the group, you personally have the strength of vision, that's clear. You have the strength of knowing to mobilize yourself with accuracy. Do you recognize that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, like, my town is the size of my world. Like, I don't have a bigger sphere of influence.
Yes. And so you will have a bunch of strengths and a bunch of limitations. And then there's the external capacity assessment, which is what are the openings and what are the obstacles. So those are the 4 questions: strengths, limitations, openings, and obstacles. And once you have that, you work with it. Then there's another element of capacity, which is you have a group. How many people are in your group?
We're starting with 8 to 10.
So if you shape the group to be oriented to vision, to capacity assessment, and to bridging, and then word goes out that you have this group and 3 people want to come, and one of them says, we need to just harass the people who are harassing us. I'm just making it up. That person has no room in your group. Because if that person comes into your group, instead of putting your energy into engaging with the people who are against what you're trying to do, you will put your energy into internal fighting. This is something that movements in general are weak at, which is establishing the membrane and the periphery of this is what we are engaging with and this is not. And we call that baseline capacity. What is the baseline capacity needed to join your movement? And, one of them is to be able to focus on vision rather than being against. One of them is seeing the need for bridging. One of them is being able to think into the long haul instead of we have to do something tomorrow. I don't know what all they are, but these are the ones that I'm seeing in what you're saying. So those are the bits. Are these good enough tips?
Yes, that's a great start. Thank you. Yeah.
Again, is there any follow-up on this? Any follow-up questions or comments? Kari.
Yeah, I'm just realizing that in order also to do a capacity assessment, and because we have been working lately with capacity assessments, I hadn't made a link with the vision. And what I'm thinking is like, in the experiment with truth we are doing, lately I've been studying always with vision and trying to connect with vision a lot, and then from that do the experiment with truth. And now what I'm thinking that it might support me to also do the same with the capacity assessment, start with vision first, and then from there, the capacity assessment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, totally. Yes, the capacity might, if I move in a different direction, you know, it would all be the same overarching vision. Let's say if this, it's easier to demonstrate with purpose. If the purpose changes, you need to redo at least parts of the capacity assessment, because you know, if my purpose becomes to rapidly disseminate some memes, to shift the level of discourse in the world, I'm not in that direction. But if that was, the capacities needed for that are very different from the capacities needed for what NGL is doing. So we would need to redo capacity assessment, rearrange what we're doing to do something else. And then the question is like, the question of openings would be entirely different. Because the primary openings that we have at present is the NVC community. That's the primary openings that we have, and that community has very limited scope in what it's able to do. It's starting to change, but it's still primarily that. So there is no abstract capacity assessment of what is my capacity. It's what is my capacity relative to what I'm trying to do. Does that make sense, Kari?
Yeah, I don't know why I raised my hand. Yeah, and it's, for me, it's like it's a little bit more clicking in the sense of the baseline capacity assessment we have been working on, and like what we're gonna be doing with the core track and all that in NGL. And it's just that I hadn't made the link, even if it's clear in the VM structure, in the vision mobilization structure, we go from vision and then capacity assessment, blah, blah. But then I hadn't made the link that also these capacities assessments are related to that, and all like the part around strengths, limitations, openings, and yeah.
And if you see each lineage experiment track has a different purpose. And the capacity assessment is always in relation to that purpose. Yeah. I'm glad you felt it. When things fall in place, they start running, especially with you. Thanks. All right. What else is floating in anybody's mind in relation to the topic that you would like us to explore today? If there isn't anything immediately popping, I propose that we go into small groups for a little bit and you talk with each other, and out of that more questions will come. But Susan is already wanting to ask. And I just want to say, Susan, you're on my first screen so I can see your hand. But overall, raising your electronic hand helps better, because if you were in the second screen, I wouldn't know that you were raising your hand. Yeah.
What do you do if you find when you do your group assessment that you don't have the capacity for the purpose?
You change your purpose.
You change your purpose?
Yes. It means that you chose a purpose that you don't have capacity to accomplish.
Could you also consciously reach out to bring people into the group to have that capacity?
Yes, and it will be scrambling. And if you've been doing this for a while, you've already created a little culture. So then those people who come in, it's more of an instrumental relationship. We want you here so that you can do this thing. Yeah, I mean, sure, you can try. I would be concerned about it.
Because something else that I did in my past said, first you enroll people in the vision and connect their vision for their life with the vision that you have. And if your visions are aligned, then you can enroll them.
Yes, but then you would need to work on creating a shared purpose with the people who show up that is within capacity in relation to the vision, because the purpose, as I understand it, is an answer to the question, what is ours to do in relation to the vision? What is ours to do to bridge the gap between where we are now and what the vision is? So it can't be abstract. There are so many things to do that I mean, the need outstrips all of our combined capacity. That's the situation we're facing today in the world. Anywhere you look, the need outstrips our capacity. That means I want us to be as acupuncture point precise in where we find the purpose. Does that help?
It does, and it's discouraging to hear you say that.
Say more. We're not done.
Well, the vision that I'm holding is that children all over the world need to be introduced to NVC communication in the elementary primary schools.
Okay, so
now the schooling and the camps, and
this is not a vision.
That's not a vision.
This is a strategy. This is a particular pathway.
Yeah, the vision is for the end of war on the planet, and people
Okay.
to be cooperative and collaborative and respect the animals and the earth and restore the earth.
I think that you were doing a little bit of a jump. I want to know specifically what would happen if you manage to enroll all children in NVC. What do you see happening as a result?
I see that within a generation, there would be no war because those children would not participate in a war.
Okay, so now I'm split in two directions. One is that I would want you to have more of a sense of intermediate bits. It's like if you actually manage to enroll all the children in the world now in an NVC program, what do you see changing from that soon?
How they relate to each other, the lack of bullying, the self-application, the self-love that would come so that they could be
okay.
The collaboration and cooperation with others their age.
Okay, so I would say that is just one layer below the enrolling all children in NVC is a vision of children having an experience of safety, connection, meaning, collaboration, and care throughout their day. Do you feel the difference, the energetic imprint of the difference between everybody enrolling in NVC and that picture? That energetic imprint is the energy of vision. It's a story. Vision is a story of possibility, not a story of what we do to get to that possibility. It's what does it look like?
Thank you.
And then, and do you see that just that little story, and you can, obviously you can embellish and elaborate and specify, but that story, does it give you energy?
It does, and it also gives people energy that have never heard of NVC.
Yeah.
It gives parents and teachers energy. It gives people that work with children energy.
The function of vision is to give energy, not to make us feel bad about where we are.
Valuable.
Now that you have this energy, is there any place where you have enough capacity to create an island of that vision.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that I could work with a Montessori school or Waldorf school. I could reach out to a camp. I could, and I've already enrolled some
Fabulous.
Gina Sim.
Oh, yeah. If you got Gina Sim in your court, you're set.
Yeah.
And then I want to bring another element, which is an element of systemic analysis, which is this. The purpose of schools is not to care for children. Systemically, not talking about this school or that school. Fundamentally, the purpose of schools is to create a generation of compliant, one generation after another of compliant people. And a compliant person can be a CEO. CEO are not less compliant than factory workers. They're just compliant at a different layer of existence. They don't actually have any more freedom to really act from within the source of their life energy. But that's a different story. Given that the system requires schools that reproduce the system, I don't believe that your strategy will be able to move, because if you become successful on a large enough scale, you will be fought against and you won't have the tools for fighting back. The history of schooling is a history of squashing schools that work. There's a lot of stuff written about it. You get a school that works, it functions for a few years, and somehow it gets dismantled. The latest story that I heard is about a school in Chicago where, I don't remember exactly in what year, they introduced training in Kingian nonviolence. And it's not NVC, but it's the same gestalt. Violence within the school dropped by about 40-50%. They did away with the security guards and with the metal, whatever those are, detectors and all of that. All that money went into increasing the program, that students felt empowered, blah, 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 more and more. It was working. Everybody loved it. A new school president came and dismantled the program. It doesn't make any logical sense. The number of people who are threatened by empowered children is much larger than the number of people who welcome empowered children. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So if you're going to create a school or visionary island, please do more than a school. Please also work with the neighborhood. Please also work with the shopkeepers. Please also work with the bank, with everything that is in that neighborhood, so that the visionary island actually functions in a more cohesive way. And see where that takes you and what the next step is. Are you still discouraged?
Yes, expanding the vision, but I love it.
Are you still discouraged?
I'm discouraged at the level that the system would squash anything good that starts.
Yeah. I think if we're going to work for change, we need to do it with open eyes. Yeah. Thank you. Sari.
So I have some questions about the breakouts, but first I have something on Susan's thread.
Your voice is very, very low.
Hold on.
Is this better?
Much better.
So first of all, I have a bunch of questions about the breakouts. But before that, I want to say something to Susan Thread.
Mhm.
And what you just did with Susan is what Poppy is doing in the nonviolent tech group. So
Mhm.
there's an initiative for everybody else's benefit. There's an initiative of nonviolence in tech, and it's run by somebody who's a student of Mickey. And what we do there is we start with projects, and then we go back and figure out what's the purpose and what are the needs. And we kind of articulate enough so that we can then iterate between the project and the purpose and the needs and all the pieces that need to go together in order to actually maintain the capacity and the enthusiasm and the awareness. Because people are like, let's do this thing. Oh, I know how to do that. Let me do it. And kind of lose that whole
Yeah, the
purpose.
doing, the learning, the designing, the relating, the feedback, the systems, all of that is part of it, not just the doing. Yeah. So in terms of small groups, I'd say let's give it about 10 minutes for people to just maybe think about what we have talked about so far, read again the description of the event, and come back and we'll attend to a few more themes and then close. That's what happens. Every one of these events comes to an end.
So you want 9+1?
Sure.
And
Thank
who do
you.
you want in the room with you, if anyone?
No one. I just want to take a break.
Okay. So I put three people. I tried to put 3 people in each room. There's I think one room with 2 people. If you leave a room, if you could just note which room you left so that I can find you on the list and assign you to another room. Otherwise, just stay in the room and I will see that and go ahead and reassign you to another room. And
Great.
caught everybody who doesn't want to be in a room. Is there a question or?
How long is each room?
9 minutes plus 1. So you'll get after 9 minutes, you'll get an alert saying the breakout room is closed, and from then you have 60 seconds or 1 minute more to wrap up.
All right. See you in 10 minutes.
Hi, Nor.
I go in rooms.
I'm sorry.
I go in room 7. Oh, superfluous. Okay, no, disregard.
And thank you for stepping in. Oh, he's gone. Can you unmute, Nor? Are you even there? I think I'm gonna go into a room. There's one room with 2 people. Is that true? Yes. I'm gonna go into a room. Nor, I'm not sure what to do with you. Actually, I'm gonna text you.
Hey, here we are again. Folkmar, are you there? No, Folkmar. All right. So then I am wondering if people, can you please mute yourselves? I don't know what happened to Folkmar.
I'm here.
Okay. Can you mute people?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
It took just longer.
Thanks. Okay. So let's hear additional questions or musings or comments or whatever on this topic. How do we actually make radical vision something practical? What can we actually do to make it practical? Yeah, Noor.
Hey Mickey, I had reread the description for this event, and was talking about how we all know the systems aren't working, but it's hard to talk about alternatives. And it was reminding me of a conversation I was having with somebody I was dating months ago, where I was explaining, like, I don't see how the current systems are working. And I just noticed how quickly I was being met with defensiveness and like, well, then what's your proposal? And and I felt like on the spot kind of and cornered, and like, and then when I tried to share some of my vision, I was seeing how quickly I was being labeled in certain categories that, and I'm USA based, and it was just like, that was also not resonant for me where I was being labeled.
Can you give an example of a label?
Yeah, like you're socialist, or like this or that, and then and with an edge, and like not really trying to understand where I'm coming from, or idealistic. And I just like, I feel on some level, and I imagine other people can relate, kind of helpless in how to talk about a future where like people can see that it's possible. And and I also like wonder if you have any suggestions of how to, because I think that the reality is I'm not feeling secure in myself in being able to talk about it. And so what I have done in the past has been like, oh, let me refer you to Mickey. Why don't you look at her information? She knows all the answers. I'm just learning from her.
That's awful. That's
well,
really...
I'm being a little playful, but it's kind of like...
No, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. There was course that Emma and Yaren are doing, just finishing, called the Vision Playground, where people actually got to play with coming up with vision. I think, in years past, when people were asking me, what are you doing? And I was squarely within regular NVC, for lack of a better term, I would say I'm doing nonviolent communication. They would say, what is nonviolent communication? I did not have a standard answer on purpose, because a standard answer would be abstract and irrelevant to the person. So I would use whatever I knew about the person to frame it. So if it so happens that the person asking me is a police officer, I would say nonviolent communication is a method through which you can de-escalate conflict and reduce the number of shootings that will happen.
Oh, I love that. Very personalized.
And that's what makes it practical. It's like, what is the specific challenge that I imagine this person has, and what do I have to offer that person?
That's very attuned.
Yes, that's the word.
Okay, so it's about attuning. It's about attuning.
Yes. Also, it's attuning both to where the person might already have a challenge, and also to some intuition about what is their imaginative capacity.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to paint a picture that is beyond somebody's capacity to imagine.
Yeah.
Then we've left them behind.
Yeah, makes sense. I think also as we're speaking, Mickey, I think the part that I can work on too, that I notice in myself is I in that conversation, I think I was also coming from a place of like opposition to the current mainstream existing order. And I don't think that that's helpful either, because this person was very invested in it, even as he also like, you know, all like everyone does sees aspect that it's not working on some level. And so I need to watch that, because I think when I show up in that energy, then it's like, well, you know, then I met with pushback.
Yeah. And if you get pushback to anything, and if you have capacity, then you own what you've just done. Oops, I see that I just, hoisted on you something that isn't actually relevant for your existence. Scrap that. Is there even one micro thread in what I said that is of interest? Even a tiny bit. If not, let's forget this conversation. We're not aligned. Why bother?
And anything else you suggest for just this little last piece, Mickey, for that helplessness? Like, it's just, it feels.
Morning.
Okay.
And practice writing vision statements. Just practice writing them.
Okay.
How would you do transportation? How would you do healthcare?
Okay.
Susan has some significant idea of how she would do schools. Her idea, whatever it is, because it has the word schools in it, it doesn't scratch the surface of radicality for me. I don't want schools at all. I think schools have inherent difficulties with them, not the least of which is that children are age segregated. It's completely unnatural to age segregate children, for example. So my vision would be something else, but there's no reason for me to say that to Susan when she has a vision, and I am so confident. If I support her in taking steps towards her vision, her imaginative capacity will grow, and on her own, she will discover, oh, that's limited. What's beyond that?
Wow. Okay. I just want to say, I think this would be a great course idea to help people come up with different vision statements.
Yeah, that's what Emma and Yaren just did. And I think you can probably sign up retroactively, and there's still 1 or 2 more sessions. I don't know how many.
Okay.
Just one session.
Only 1 session left. If you can watch the first 5 in time by Tuesday, do it. And if not, just watch them afterwards.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Arlene.
Yeah. First of all, this is fantastic. This has been fantastic, and I would like to make sure that I can listen to the other preceding episodes. That's the first thing. I've just never encountered, and I keep thinking, did Mickey write a book? But anyway, 4 books, is that what you're saying? Okay, well, I can go and look them.
4 books and several hundred blog posts and about 40-something learning packets on specific topics. Crazy woman.
Oh my God. All right. So I can get on the blog. I mean, somehow sign up, put your name in and stuff. Okay.
Somebody please put the link in the chat.
And also the link, if somebody wouldn't mind, this is not why I was raising my hand, but somebody wouldn't mind the thing you just referenced about the vision. quest or
The vision
something?
course, yeah.
Vision course, because I have
Carrie can do all of that. Carrie is a magician in the forming.
Magician is great. Okay, so the question had to do with, some things you said. I realized I told this to my little group that I'm leading groups. My kid is gender non-binary, and they were trans, and anyway, they're in their 40s. Doesn't matter. But I am leading groups for parents and have been for some years now, who are just beginning to deal with this issue because their kids are much younger. So, and I found myself, based on what you said, well, people are very scared right now because for obvious reasons. And so the question had to do with how not to view it as a pushback or whatever, obstacle or you said what not to do. And I think
what's the push? I'm sorry, it darted for me and probably also requires some understanding of what's going on in the USA, which I don't have enough clarity. If you can just fill in the gaps. What?
Oh, well, Trump and the whole folk in the upcoming regime, whatever it's called, kingdom, are very anti-trans, period. And then it's going to be no pre 18 surgery or hormone blockers. And I'm not sure that I agree with the surgery part, but the hormone blockers, it's a very large group of suicidality in this group. And there are people in the groups I'm leading that they're thinking of the Trump people are thinking of expanding it to all trans people, that there's, no surgery and we don't know exactly what they can do. And what do they do about the people who've already had? It's very complicated about what they're thinking. Okay, so that's the short version.
And now comes the question, which now you can ask, and I think I might understand.
Okay, so in the groups that I run, these are parents of late teens, early adults, kind of, that are, beginning to deal with this, and the kids are transitioning, and it's support groups that really help each other. And I do lead them, and I'm going to start another group in case anybody knows people who want to participate. But anyway, they're very small, and they're very for that specifically. So people are now, after the election, pretty freaked out, and it's how to approach this through vision as opposed to obstacle. The obstacle being legal, perhaps. Legal.
Yes. Yeah. So just very briefly, have a vision. Have a vision of what you want.
I do know what I want. Yes, go ahead.
Imagine that patriarchy altogether is out the window. We actually live in alignment with life completely. What would you then want for people? Would people still be suicidal? Would people still need to transition? Think about those things in that kind of context. And then, whatever your vision is, within the group, what's a step that you can take towards the vision? Within the lives of the people, what's a step that they can take towards the vision? You cannot dismantle the Trump regime. It's a question of how do you maintain vision within dark times?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you.
They each have it's live and let live. And it would be, people would transition and have transitioned, whether it's patriarchy or not. It's not to do, I don't feel in large part.
Whatever it is, whatever the vision is that you arrive at, what are steps that each of these parents and each of those groups can take to support the living of that vision now?
Okay, not sure how to do that, but yeah. I mean,
Just keep
they were living it fine. They were doing
but
fine.
the conditions are different.
That's right.
So
That's
the
right.
need is different. So they need something else to be able to live the vision.
Okay.
What is needed now?
Okay. Okay, I'll have to think about that. Yeah, within the legal structure.
Yes.
And it may be demonstrations, it may be writing, it may be all kinds of stuff. Thank you very much.
Yep. Tomislav, I'm called to hear from Margaret first because I don't think I've ever talked with her. Are you okay with that? Thank you. Margaret.
Thank you, Nikki. I've been struggling with what it is that I want to ask, but so I've been involved for many years with a political party, the California Democratic Party, and have come to the conclusion that this party cannot be redeemed or transformed, and the problem is structural. And I'm in a chat with a bunch of other delegates, many of whom feel similarly. But when I raise the question of how do we start to figure out what is an alternative strategy that we could pursue, I mean, it's not that our presence there helps to mitigate some damage sometimes. But then it's like when I raise these questions, there are some people who have been thinking, express that they have similar thoughts, or some who have left the party, but somehow I can't really get a conversation going, and maybe that chat isn't a safe space for that because not everybody agrees about what is a strategy that would be more respectful of our energies and what we want to accomplish and that long-term vision, or maybe we haven't really articulated the vision very well. Yeah.
I have one suggestion, and I'm curious if it will work for you. The suggestion is that rather than trying to talk with a whole group, you say, I have an idea about exploring what other things we could do other than what we have been doing because of blah, 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 blah. On Thursday at 2 p.m., everybody who is interested in this, let's have a conversation. And then only the people who are interested come, and you don't have to go back and forth with the people who disagree with you. That's
okay.
That's the thought.
Yeah.
And then you see what there is.
I think there's a bit of a piece of the practicality of it, like the realism piece of it, to know that, well, we have this existing structure and it's more pragmatic to maybe try to do something within the existing paradigm. And
I
just
think you
how
need to
daunting it is.
decide for yourself. You really need to make a decision. Some people persist in staying within the mainstream and trying to tweak it and do whatever can be done within it. And some people leave the mainstream and say, we build an alternative somewhere else. That's a decision for you to make.
Okay.
And you can try to bring together, you can try to invite people who are struggling with it within themselves, who are torn about it within themselves. Bring those people together. The people who are okay to be within the party, they're not part of that conversation. It's not their struggle. So part of the thing is that we need to do accurate invitations so that the people who come for the right purpose. Otherwise, you're going to be debating about what are we going to do. Does it make sense for us to do A or B instead of saying, I want to meet with all the people who want to do A?
Okay, thank you.
Does it help? You say, okay, thank you. And I think that's a polite thing to say, but is it actually helpful?
Well, it is something I had thought about. Yeah, I mean, that is a logical next step. Yes.
But there's hesitancy in you about doing it. And I think the juicy part might happen if we engage with the hesitancy. What's keeping you from doing this?
I think it's that I've been wanting to raise, well, I have been trying to raise in the larger group some of these issues because I want more people to consider exploring this. And I think my fear is that the number of people
this is I hear it. I consider this a mistaken approach unless you know yourself to be a compelling speaker. If you're not a compelling speaker and you try to speak to a larger group, what is going to happen is debate. And debate doesn't generally lead itself into clarity of direction.
Yeah, the response hasn't been so much debate as I don't know. I mean, I think people are a bit resigned to that we are stuck in this two-party system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe I'm thinking like, well, maybe I'm just like I'm too idealistic in that, you know, what I am suggesting. I mean, other people have tried it and it's it's just not realistic. I don't know.
I think the key is to find something that is practical for you. I can't tell you what that is because I don't know you. If I knew you well, I might have some ideas of what would be practical for you. Otherwise, I'm just like, you know, I can't find the right metaphor. I'm just trying things out without an actual intuition about what would work for you. What is clear to me is you need to find something that you are wholehearted about and have the strength to face the consequences of possibly being only few people or the consequences of being with a whole bunch of resigned people and seeing what you can do. It's not this way or that way. It's we need to have the strength to face the consequences of the choices we make and stand by them. That's
okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
I'm glad. And saying, okay, thanks, when it isn't actually helpful, I had a guess that you were not actually done. And I think one bit of strength that you can learn, I think, is persistence in continuing to say something, even if somebody else is resigned, to keep going. That's something that just from our little interaction, I can see that would benefit you if it resonates.
Sure. I was just struggling with identifying what I guess I just felt so defeated at that point.
Yeah. Then there's mourning to do. like real deep mourning about where the Democratic Party is and where you are, and that you don't have more capacity or strength or visibility or whatever than you have. And mourn it, and then see what comes on the other end of it, and what creative pathways open that are for you. No one else can live your life.
Yeah. It's hard for me to articulate what those possibilities are, because I mean there are ways that in which I am contributing where I am now, but
Yes,
it feels like it's
you
dead
can't
end.
think your
Yeah.
way. You can't think your way through it before you mourn. That's been my experience when I'm stuck. All right. Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you.
Tomislav.
Yeah, hello everybody. My vision is a world in which everybody's needs count, and I think a good collective strategy would be a world without money and with collective property. And next week on Wednesday, I'm going to give a talk through commoning out of the climate catastrophe. And I want to ask the people who are listening, who is in to build an organization in which we provide each other globally. And I'm a little scared that the range is a little too small, that I won't find enough people there, or when I give this talk in locally somewhere. And I'm scared that I don't know I don't know how to find people locally, because this is important for me, not to relate only online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the question?
And the question is how to proceed.
What's the population where you are?
Stuttgart is about 600,000.
Mm-hmm. And what's your sphere of influence within this group of 600,000?
I'm in two groups, and the group, it's going to be an internal talk in front of 12 till 15 people.
And then the way I would organize the talk is to have a certain amount of time where you describe the idea, and a certain amount of time where you invite people to poke holes in the idea and brainstorm, poke holes, say what's wrong with it.
Okay.
And engage with you in creative thinking about what you could do to reach more people. That's all I would do. You're starting at a deficit. Two levels of deficit. One is I know very few people, I'm one of them, very few people who can actually envision a world without money. Actually envision it, not just like hear the idea, oh, that sounds nice. Like can imagine how things and people would move around without money. It's hard for people to imagine. Very few of us can do that. That's one deficit. It's a big leap for most people at the level of vision. And second you're not very well connected. You have only a small group. How would you reach 600,000 people? So that's why I'm suggesting structuring it in the way that I'm suggesting. Because the people who are there are people that you have a connection with, and they might be willing to lend you their creativity, and then you have a bit more wisdom than just yours.
Yeah, thank you for the part of looking for weak parts in the concept.
There's a I don't know what to call it. Maybe it's an organization, I'm not sure. Something, it's called the natural step. And it's an approach to how to become sustainable. It doesn't matter I like it or I don't like it. It started in Sweden. And it was one man who wasn't an economist or anything. He wrote a paper about what are the conditions for sustainability, sent it to 40 scientists or whatever. I don't even know how he selected those 40, and asked them to tell him what was wrong with the paper. They gave him comments. He integrated them, sent version 2 with the same question. He integrated them, sent them version 3. Version 22 was a consensus document.
Okay.
And then he took it to the government, to whatever. He did some very clever things to make it happen. But it started with inviting people to tell him what's wrong with the paper. Another example, there was something called the Listening Project that happened, I don't remember where there was a legislative initiative somewhere in the USA, or a movement or something that wasn't gaining traction. And the group then went door to door, not to try to convince people, to ask people to tell them if they could see why people wouldn't vote for it. And after going door to door and having conversations with each person, the measure passed, because they were able to engage with people's concerns. We are so focused on getting people to agree with us that we forget about the opportunity to invite people to disagree and then integrate with them.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Right. It's time to say goodbye. And before saying goodbye, three things. One is, Kari, I'm just going to ask you, because I know you know all the links and everything. Do you have easy links to put in the chat if anybody wants to come closer to NGL and engage? Do you have a link to tell them where to go?
I can find you right now.
Okay, that's one. Second, if anybody has access to financial resources, we are very much in need. It was a mighty struggle in our last distribution of resources to be able to attend to all the requests. And we have this struggle every 4 months. So we ask for support if anybody can do that. And I don't know if there's anyone here who has the links, but they're in the landing page. So if anybody can put the landing page link in the chat, then you can find the links there for contributing, giving to us more money if you can. And the third thing is, I would like to hear from a few people who haven't spoken. What's staying with you from what we did today? What's one learning that you've had? And I particularly would like to hear from John's, who is also here for the first time. And you had quite a face of resonance, and I just would like to hear just a tiny bit. What are you taking with you?
Taking that vision is needs-based and something that would give energy, and purpose then would be what is ours to do in relation to the vision.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else has something to share that you're taking with you? Especially people who haven't participated. I know you will have something lovely to say, Nora. I would like to encourage people who haven't spoken. And if no one steps forward, Catherine.
Yes, I am really resonating with this idea of looking for or creating openings within the actual context, specific context of the current reality that I am in. Yeah, finding those openings versus holding this vision and in a cloud somewhere.
Fabulous. Glad you got that.
Yeah.
Christian?
Yes. So I was amazed at hearing things again that I've already heard, and by that realizing that I already have the tools or the knowledge how to bridge that gap from idealism to practicality. I already think I know them, and I just have to find a way to apply them. So that kind of remove or makes it easier to pass this obstacle that
I love it. I love it. Really glad that you got to that phase. Okay, let's hear from Noor and Sari and then close.
I was really struck by your distinction between transformation and liberation, and liberation being like directionality towards vision, and transformation being both ways. And I have a new appreciation for why you use that word so much now, liberation. So that was really helpful. And also when you translated care and don't care for the Palestinian for the genocide, you said that people, these like 1/3 of the people, they just don't have the energy to think about it. I really like that translation. Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks. Sari?
Thank you, Mickey. I resonate with a ton of things, and I put my main point in the chat. I'm mourning how our conditioning to do things on our own impacted me today. And I'm finding that it really was much more than I thought.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you on some other screen one day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.